Okie dokie, we're going to be starting in a few minutes here, or in a few seconds here. Just going to get everything ready. As you can see by the, we got an itinerary up there. We're going to start off with a basic intro to mission and campaign creation and design. As it relates to dynamic, for the most part, you can apply some of these lessons to full scripted, but we're going to be focusing on dynamic for pretty much the entire focus of this. Then we're going to go into intro to the basic MCC functions and intro to the basic Zeus functions. And then we're going to jump into going into the main bulk of this, which is going to be MCC functions in depth and Zeus functions in depth. That's going to be the meat and potatoes of it, and we're probably going to get there. And that's going to go into how things actually work. The other two are just going to be kind of, the intros are going to be just going over the layouts and everything like that. And then I'm going to go briefly at the end about how to combine Zeus and MCC for the best bang for your buck, or attempting to. And then we're going to have a Q&A on TeamSpeak in the Arma 3 training channel. If you want to join me there, that'll be probably in an hour and a half, an hour from now. Without further ado, starting. So, dynamic missions and campaign creation is pretty simple. You want to get complex with it if you can, but the actual face of it's really simple. If you've ever done a dungeon master or anything like that, you can generally understand where to come from. There's a lot of different ways you can take it. You can create quick dynamic missions, which are, just purely combat. You can go way in depth, which is what I try and do, and go create like a role-playing environment and everything like that, and actually bring the simulation to life. So it's not just going in a game and shooting people, it's going in and being part of a story, trying to create almost an RPG-like element. So with that, I'm going to show you guys the background I used for the campaign I ran back in June, May and June this year, which is campaign R1. Pull that up. As you can see here, this is the background I had on my computer. I actually have a notebook full of information too, but this is the background I used for it. So everything was created here, what the missions were ran, what the mission was created, where it's going to be taking place. I had all the rewards and everything set up, the penalties for doing various things, what rewards people had, the campaign goals, assets that were had, assets that were lost. And even down here I had the different factions that were taking place. And this is not for other people. This is for you. So when you're creating a dynamic mission, or if you're going to go even further and create a dynamic campaign, you need to keep everything in track. Whether it's scribbled on a note card, in a notepad, somewhere even on your computer, somewhere easily accessible during the mission. You can easily, quickly reference it and go, okay, this is what I have going. For the most part, it makes sense, but if you ever go really far in depth with it, for example, let's say you're on a dynamic mission where we're playing mercenaries and we befriend African pirates, but we don't befriend the rebels. You want to make notes of small things like that, because that might get confused in your head. So you want to make sure to provide a consistent experience. For just a single mission, generally, just a little notepad document or something like that will work. But that's the Excel thing that I use. Like I said, I also have a giant notebook full of information, map drawings, everything like that, and whatnot. Getting into the dynamic portion though of just a mission. So that's basic campaign. A dynamic mission though, it's better than a scripted mission in Arma 3. There are some scripted ones that are really good out there, and they have a lot of praise. You can combine scripted and dynamic. The problem with Arma 3 though is you have to account for every little thing that can be brought to bear. So you can go anywhere in Arma 3. You can attack things from any direction, and this causes a lot of issues for some people. When you try and create a scripted mission, if you go, okay, I'm going to create the base like this, and now, they approach it from a way that you had no idea was even possible or didn't even think of. Which can make the mission go really, really easily or really poor. They run into something they weren't supposed to run until later, and all that stuff. With Dynamic, you can control all of that and make sure they don't run into something that you don't want them to run into. Creating a mission is very simple. All you gotta do is think something that can have a military aspect to it, and just, if guns can be involved, generally you can create an Arma 3. You can go basic with it. I'm gonna blow up a radio tower, to extremely in depth. We have to interrogate civilians and find ammo caches and stuff like that, and have this whole mission where there's a lot of dialogue going on and stuff like that too, and not just shooting. Alright, so we're going to get into game here. Alright, so the first thing you're going to get when first thing you're going to get when you log into the game, obviously, you need to pick the map. Right now we're going to use Pakistan. Not every map has all the mods on it, so this is something you need to make sure you're using right. If you're ever confused what maps have the current mods on them, just hit up myself, Rectorall, or Revive. We'll generally let you know which ones are the right ones to go. We're pruning the server and everything like that to make sure it just ones with the mods on them. But we're going to use Pakistan Basic. This is one that has the mods on it currently. Big thing you want to make sure of is that none of these things say AI on them, unless for whatever reason you want AI in the mission. From the spawn get-go, that's for more of scripted missions if you're doing something like that and you want the scripted characters to also be playable. But for the most part, these should all say nobody. There'll be a little computer over here that says AI. You just click in and it'll switch it to nobody. So we're going to load into the MCC Zeus slot here. You generally don't want to take a squad spot if you can avoid it, just so that way you're not causing issues within the squad. You're not having, you're not taking up a spot that somebody else could fill. You're more than likely not going to be participating as a normal member of the squad. Occasionally I'll do this. Since server likes to double load missions. Alright. So very simply, once you're in, you're going to be able to start the server, and I have my glasses on. Alright. Alright, so you're going to use your scroll wheel to go down to the MCC menu. Mine's going to look a little different than your guys's for the MCC. If you're ever going to use MCC or anything like that, you want to try and use the most up-to-date version. Pretty much all the MCC4 release clients work with each other with teleporting and everything like that. I'm currently on MCC4 release 6. I believe most of you guys have the R5 downloaded. The R6 has a little bit of newer stuff in with it. And like I said, for the most part, it's compatible with everything that's in MCC4. Alright, so that was your basic client screen, which we're going to pull up again here really quickly. You can, that same client